So, you see how crucial it is, right, it keeps coming up all the time, continuity. And so, property number 3, so property number 3 is absolutely trivial actually. Property number 3 is, so you have the following, right. So, x is less than or equal to y, right. So, you have that the set of omegas for which x of omega is less than or equal to x, well, as I just argued, right, is which way is the containment? This way, isn't it? Omega for which x of omega less than or equal to y, correct? Again, right. So, you x is less than or equal to y. So, you call that x, you call that y. I just argued that this containment has to hold, right. Any questions? So, now what happens? These are both f measurable sets. So, they have probabilities, and you know that if A is a subset of B, probability of A is less than or equal to probability of B, right. Therefore, you can put, so if you put P on both sides, you are done, right. So, if you put P on both sides, I should not be doing this, but I should write it again, but this is what happens, right, correct, because A is contained in B, probability of A is less than or equal to probability of B, then you get that inequality, which means, so this is nothing but f x of x, which is less than or equal to f x of y for x less than or equal to y, correct. Okay. Fine. Any questions? See, all along, see you know these properties already, but what I am emphasizing here is proving them from probabilities of probability measure and continuity and so on, right. Okay. So, can we prove this continuity of not continuity, this is right continuity of CDFs. So, right continuity, let epsilon n be any sequence. So, epsilon, this is a non negative sequence, be any sequence such that epsilon n down arrow 0 as n tends to infinity. So, I am epsilon is going to down to 0, right. So, if I show that this is true for every sequence epsilon n which is going down to 0, then I am done, right, that is what that limit means after all, right. So, I consider a sequence like that, then I say, then consider the following, limit n tends to infinity f x of x plus epsilon n, right. I have to show that this is equal to f x of x for every sequence epsilon n going down to 0. If this is true, then this is true, right. Okay. So, why am I doing this? I have to yeah, this is something I did not discuss earlier. So, this epsilon is some continuous thing, right, this epsilon is some real parameter that is going down to 0, but why am I replacing it with a discrete sequence, the sequence epsilon n, right. So, the epsilon n, this epsilon itself is going down to 0 on the real line, but I am now considering a sequence indexed by n, right. Why am I doing that? Because I will invoke continuity of probability. I want to somewhere, see, I know how to handle countable intersections and countable unions, right. I cannot handle uncountable intersections and unions, right. So, I am just that is what I am doing, right. So, I am going from a uncountable this epsilon to a sequence, so that I can get these countable intersections and unions, very standard trick in measure theory in probability theory. Okay. So, that is simply, and I have to prove that for every such sequence, only then will that be true, right. So, limit n tending to infinity, probability of x less than or equal to x plus epsilon n. Okay. So, I have from now on I will use this notation. Okay. So, no omega such that x of omega. Now, again I have to be careful. So, this is like these are nested decreasing sets as subsets of omega, right, and so that will be equal to. So, I am going to skip a step here. So, this will be equal to so how do I write this? So, this be omega such that intersection n equals I equals let us say 1 to infinity oh sorry oh, my bad. So, intersection of sorry I equals 1 through infinity omega such that x or x of omega less than or equal to x plus epsilon n. Okay. So, the intersection should be outside the set obviously, right, that is the mistake I made. Agreed. So, I am just taking this is, of course, if you want to write it down, this should be omega such that x of omega less than or equal to epsilon n. You have nested decreasing sets and the limit is outside. So, bring it in by continuity of probability, right, then I get that epsilon I correct, right. Everybody with me? So, I am just saying that this, so this set, so if you I mean you have to bring this limit in right for the continuity of probability, and that is what you get. This is by the nested decreasing property and continuity of probability measures. Now, what is that set equal to? The whole intersection. So, remember epsilon I is going to 0, right. So, that whole set will be equal to the omegas for which x of omega is less than or equal to x, right. So, that will in fact be equal to f x of little x, and this is true no matter how I choose epsilon n, as long as it is some monotonically decreasing sequence to 0, this holds, right. Therefore, this limit holds. Okay. Okay.
In this proof where the difference for the left limit is coming.
See, for the left limit this argument will not go through because you will be looking at so you will be approaching from the right, isn't it. So, you will have so you are looking at for the left limit you are looking at limit so you are looking at something like this f x of x minus epsilon n, as epsilon n is going from positive or positive, right. So, epsilon n is still positive. So, I can do that, right, but that will be limit n tending to infinity, probability that x of omega is less than or equal to x minus epsilon n, isn't it, Is that right? Am I making any mistake? Now these will be, what kind of sets are these? Are they decreasing or increasing sets, are they? So, I should take, so this will be the probability of the union of I equals 1 through infinity omega such that x of omega is less than or equal to x minus epsilon I, is not it? Agreed? Now, what is that equal to? That set is equal to x less than x, which is not your CDF, right. So, this will simply be, this will be equal to probability that capital S is less than little x, not less than or equal to little x. Right. So, the left limit is not the CDF, right, and it will be equal to the probability x less than or equal to x if and only if probability of x is 0. So, you already proved a problem that was going to be a homework problem. So, if you have a CDF that is continuous at x, that means the probability assigned to the singleton real number x is has to be 0 if and only if. Okay, so, you see what I mean. After all, this minus that is the probability that x equals x, right, and you will have continuity of the CDF at x if and only if the probability of the singleton x assigned by the probability law P x is 0, right. Okay, yeah, so that's a good question. So, we resolved the homework already for you, right. So, left continuity need not hold, and in particular left continuity holds if left continuity holds, the probability of that point is 0, and if the probability of that point is something positive, you will definitely have a discontinuity, right. You have right continuity and there will be a discontinuity, and the jump in the discontinuity will be equal to the probability that x is equal to x. Okay, that is actually what we have shown. Are there any other questions? Okay, so any CDF of any random variable, CDF of any random variable has to satisfy these 4 properties. So, what is interesting, what is somewhat more remarkable is that there are no other further properties that have to be satisfied by a CDF, meaning that if I give you any function at all which maps a function that maps R to 0 to 1, right, which satisfies these properties, namely it starts off at 0, ends up at 1, monotonically non decreasing in between and right continuous. There exists some random variable whose CDF is that function. Okay, you give me any function that I do not know that it is a CDF of any function, any random variable. You give me a function that satisfies all these 4 properties, then it is necessarily the CDF of a random variable. Okay, that also can be shown. So, which means that this is all you need for a CDF, there are no further demands that you need to make for it to be a valid CDF, but even if one of these does not hold, it will not be a CDF. Okay. Any other questions? Have a few more minutes. So, I will now introduce a very useful random variable called an indicator random variable. Okay. So, as usual you have omega f p. So, let A be an event, okay. Define I A of omega is equal to 1 if omega is in A, 0 if omega is not in A. Okay. So, I am just looking at, so it is called the indicator random variable because it indicates 1 when your realization is in A, it says 0 otherwise. So, what I have pictorially, I have my sample space with some f p on it, and I am looking at some other event A, okay. And of course, my mother nature picks omega. So, it could fall here or it could fall here, right. If it falls here, I say 1 for I A, if it falls here I say 0, okay. It only takes 2 values depending on where omega falls. Now, this is called the indicator random variable of the event A. Now, before I call it the indicator random variable, I have to prove something, I have to prove that it is a random variable, right. So, it is see it is certainly a function from omega to r. In fact, it is a function from omega, it only takes 2 values on the real line, okay. So, it is a function from omega to r, but I have to prove that it is a measurable function, f measurable function from omega to r, right. So, how do I do that? So, here is my real line, right, and so I have 0 and 1. So, these are the only values that the function takes, right. So, if you give me any Borel set, you give me, so now what do I have to show? If you give me any Borel set, the pre image is something that f measurable, right. So, you give me a Borel set, okay. Let us say you give me a Borel set like that. What is the pre image of that here? Null set, right. But if you give me a, so let us say if you give me a Borel set that includes 1, the pre image will be A, which is f measurable, right, it is an event. Similarly, if you give me a Borel set that includes 0, its pre image will be A complement, which is also f measurable because A is f measurable. And then finally, if I give you so if I give you some Borel set that includes both 0 and 1, the pre image will be the entire sample space, right, which is also f measurable. So, you can you have just proven that the indicator function is in fact a random variable. The indicator of a f measurable set is an f measurable function, correct. So, this is a legitimate random variable. So, if you want to construct a function from omega to r which is not a random variable, you can also do that, right. What you will do is you will start with some set A which is not f measurable, right, and then the indicator function will not be f measurable, right. So, the for A which is not an event, the indicator of that event will indicator of that set will be a function which is not a random variable, right. That is a very simple example, right. Okay, so what will the CDF of this, we have established that this is a random variable, the CDF of this will look like what? At 0 it is so if I try to plot, so I am going to call this f I A of x against x, right. If x is less than or equal to 0, the function will be at 0, right. So, be at 0, and between. So, if this is 0 and this is 1, so if that is 1, right, and beyond 1 it has to be 1, right, that is also clear. And then in between it will be the probability of A or A complement. Yes, correct. Here the height of this, so here this is the probability that x is less than or equal to 0.5 say, which means probability x is equal to 0. So, this height will be the probability of A complement, and this jump will be the probability of A, right. So, in all this the functional value will be over there, right, and here it should be hollow. Similarly, here it should be solid and hollow over there. Okay. So, that is how the CDF looks. Okay. Yeah, that is at 1. Okay. So, this has 2 discontinuities, right. So, looking at this itself you can say that the probability of 0 is, as I argued there, right, probability all these points have probability 0 and 0 has probability P A complement, and this jump is equal to probability of A. Okay. Any questions? So, tomorrow there is no class. The next class is on Friday. We will discuss some important topics. We will discuss about sigma algebras generated by a random variable, and also we will classify random variables based on the measure they induce on the real line. Right, we saw that P x is the measure induced on the real line by the random variable x. Depending on the properties of the measure P x, random variables are classified as, well, under several heads. Okay. You already know about a couple of heads, I guess, but there are more heads, right. So, there are several types of random variables depending on the kind of measure they induced on the real line. Okay. So, those topics will be left for Friday. Okay. I will stop now.